Okay. Hello, everyone. Crew is in the house. We are here. And there's a little bit of a lag with me, so please excuse that. Here with Galactic Ashley again and our special guest, Don Anderson, Contactee.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, guys. Thank you for being here. Uh, And again, we're going to be talking about galactic stuff, UAP, extraterrestrials, and in the chat. And okay, and share any experience you might have, and give your insight talk about. That would be great. So, how about if we just do a little bit of introduction? Also, so for those who don't know me, that's a name I go by now, and and I am a lifetime contactee, which I in 2001, my near-death experience, and so I still have contact to this day. I am obsessed, I guess you could say, with bringing awareness and helping us remember that we are part of a galactic community and that we are not alone in the universe. So that's a little. Will you please share story thus
Sure.
far, or a little bit of it? Mm-hmm.
What, you don't want me to share the whole thing? I'm just kidding. Hi everyone. I'm Galactic Ashley. I am a co-creator of these divine immersion programs, and the next one I have is called Sovereignty and the Sacred Art of Channeling. And they are 9 weeks long, and in that space we can learn and be together and get our galactic groove on. As far as being a part of this amazing group tonight, I would say rather than having contact experiences like Don and Sharon, I'm going to separate myself out a little bit, not just more to honor their experiences of having like contact through NDEs and through Don's experiences, and that I'm always in conscious contact, which is a little bit different. So while they're not landing in my backyard, we are chit-chatting frequently all of the time. I'm very, very connected with my galactic family consciousness, and I know myself to be from another universe. I'm here to help with the ascension process. So I would align with a group of beings that are here as ascension specialists that go around to different planets during particular times to help facilitate massive transition. So with that, I'll throw the ball over to Don.
No, thanks so much. My name's Don Anderson. I have had a lifetime of remembered contact experiences back to before I was born. And I set up the Oregon UFO Encounters meetup group originally that met in Oregon, up in the Portland, Oregon area. From there, I've got what you would call a blog site where I share some of my experiences, and I've written a book called, that blog site is pathofshabala.com, and was introduced to an energy called Shabala by what I would refer to as an angel or a higher being. He's my guide. He walked in and said, "Hey, you should call it this." Yeah, okay. And I questioned a little bit about that. They said, "Yeah, that'll work. Just call it what I told you to call it." Yeah. Which is Shabala, which is the ancient ones, energy of the ancient ones, basically. And so I've just been sharing some of my experiences on that blog site. I've written a couple books. One of them's called The Wanderers, about some experiences I've had as well. It's out there on Amazon if you're interested in that. So share some shamanic experiences there as well. So it's taking me off on a shamanistic type of a path to where I can do some energy healings and things of that nature. So working with some of those nasties that hang on to you when you're out and about doing your thing. A lot of times it's with interdimensional work. So That's pretty much me in a nutshell right now.
Okay. Thanks, Don. So we are here for galactic updates, if I haven't mentioned that already, and what we know to what has come to our attention in our world. Make a list as I do my this live stream. So I'll just go down the list and comment, or roll your eyes, or anything you want to do as I go down the list. Conversation is good. Okay. One thing is that there are a lot of countries now that publicly and bringing information, or they're including us, the US, Australia, Brazil, India's been talking about it for. Mike says I'm breaking up. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, I hear you fine.
Okay. Okay. It's a little uh, being naughty today, but so I know. Hopefully you can hear me okay. So there's been quite a few countries that are talking about extraterrestrials. Uh, okay. Someone else says that I'm. Mm, not sure what. Well, hopefully it goes through. Okay. And it's interesting because I had shared earlier that there was a plan in place that someone I follow and trust, Elena Denon, had talked about, where there was a plan for disclosure from Galactic Community, from the Federation. And so this seems to be, and what I've from these the people I to be part of that plan, where the countries are starting to talk about it and bring it out into the public awareness through, not that we need the government, and those of us that are long like these, or know and know that beings exist, or already, like, duh, we know that, but this is for people that don't have that memory, mass consciousness, to be able to get this information, consider credible source like the government, right? So that's a really good thing that they're talking about this. Okay. What do you guys think about that? Let me breaking up.
Well, it's always good that they're talking about it. It's just a matter if it is it catching on with the public like it should be. I'm thinking that somehow people have got to get this to resonate a little bit more. Because I know the U.S. did the same thing. They had the UFO conference. They got congressmen in. The congressman sat down and listened to, oh, geez, there are Air Force pilots from different countries coming in and, telling them away what's going on. And they're actually talking to senators. And I'm wondering how many people are actually getting the message, if you know what I mean. I'd like to see more people be self-aware, I guess.
Yeah, and I think that's why right now these shows and people I follow and are so important, because people that want to know, there's information out there. There's information. And if because I know a couple people have talked to me that wouldn't even be in this world at all. I'm in that world, and are excited to tell me, hey, the Congress is creating creating a group of Congress people that are looking at this, investigating it. And so, that right there would be awareness for it. Talking about Dawn, I think. So if it's in that
Mm-hmm.
area of what we would call the news, then that's pretty huge. And that's part of this plan to how to wake people or help people become aware that wouldn't normally be in this area.
It actually is. Yeah, I would have to agree with that. The more that you can get the word out about it, the better off it's going to be until the grassroots organization really takes off and moves with it. I'm thinking so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. What do you think, Ashley?
I feel, it's always a good step, right? I think ultimately because something is on the news and or is being televised or has something to do with our government, I don't think that necessarily equates to people believing. And I would hope that people have more personal and or more intimate experiences. And something we just did in a course I'm teaching right now is we practiced trying on belief systems that weren't our own. So, like, belief systems are like clothing. But ultimately, in order to try a belief system on, you have to feel safe. So, when I look to the government, I feel everything but safety. So, I don't think it's having an opposite effect. I think it's good that information is getting out there. It's probably hitting particular people in that need to like at least have it in their awareness in some sense. So I think that's really good. I would petition people that are listening, if you haven't had an experience, maybe to ask for one about anything that you want to believe in or don't want to believe in or are wondering about, whether it's UFOs, aliens, or galactics, whatever it is, to maybe ask your higher self, God, source, whomever, to have some kind of experience. Doesn't, you can ask for a gentle one, but something so that you can have a better understanding of how this shows up or changes or matters in your life at all.
No, I would have to agree with that. Sometimes the gentle ones are the ones that have the most impact on you as well. Yeah, because they just kind of seep into your consciousness, and then you can get a good idea of what's going on. But for instance, when I had the praying mantis encounter, it was just stepped up with this energy going during the day, that you didn't really notice, and it just kept building and building and building, and then boom, the event happens. It's like, there they are, they're running around. It's not too big a deal. But here's the thing for the scientific mind: they like proof. There's two things that you're never going to prove is one is a near-death experience. I mean, the only way you prove that is coming back a different person than what you originally went into it with. And the other one is the UFO. Mostly, you don't find a lot of proof on that because it's either covered up or it's all very convoluted. So if you go in and you ask for proof of one way or another, I would think, gently, even, I mean, mine was just like, boom, there you go. Whoa. It took me 13 years to deal with it. So it was a little bit of a struggle, for a long time, because it was all just pounded into me all at once. But, maybe if you're just going down the road and you're saying, hey, I would like to know if this is true by proving it to me by such and such a means, then little by little, step by step, you kind of get involved with it a little bit more and say, hey, well, maybe there's someone out there working around, helping me out, doing whatever I need to get done to bounce into this new belief system. Because that's what you're doing is you have a near death or a UFO experience. That box that you hold your belief system in is now kind of like fractured. And it takes a while to assimilate the information you just received, even though it may not be much. So I like what you just said there. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And I believe that that has been the plan all along, like you were talking about, because needed to happen from within, because it obviously was not going to happen from without, and the government is the last people I trust. Believe me, very last at the bottom of the list. So it had to happen from when, like we've done, and people who have been talking about it, sharing their experiences and connecting, because that's that is what our galactic partners, Galactic has been working with us. That's how they've been with us. So it didn't just happen all of a sudden for quite a few years, 50, 60 years or more. And so we need, I believe, I feel very strongly that we needed a critical mass for that to happen with, where people are talking about it. And now it's kind of, and for, a lot of, with cell phones, everyone has a way to take video, lots of ships or whatever in the sky. So people are kind of like, yeah, okay. So another person, whether it's real or not, I believe that most of them are some type of unidentified aerial phenomenon, is a new term now. But it had to happen with the people first, and then always science and the government and that kind of thing are always last anyway, to let the stragglers know.
But I love the fact that, Ashley, that you are actually helping people to understand different belief systems. And that's what you got to do when you're doing the ET or out of body experiences or whatever, too. Because it's what a lot of people don't understand is they expect like an alien or an angel or somebody like that to think the same way that we're thinking as humans. They don't have the human experience down here, so they don't think human at all, at least a little bit, only in the fact that they're trying to communicate to us what their point they're trying to get across. So until you're actually thinking that different belief system and understanding that different belief system of something that's not from this planet, it's all just a foreign subject, and it's really hard to grasp that foreign subject to try to, put it in the box. I had a friend who said, think alien. I said, well, how do you think alien? It's like, it's a totally different belief system. Their ethics could be totally different from ours. Their morality could be totally different from ours, because morality here on this planet is a taught concept from somebody, a higher source, whatever. Maybe it's a taught concept. And so, for instance, if I journey to the lower world on a shamanic trip, you're dealing with beings down there that have no clue about earthly morality, and they don't care. It's just, how are you going to benefit me? In some of these cases, how are you going to benefit me by introducing yourself into my world? And if you're thinking human, it's over. So that belief system structure, I think, is really important. I really applaud that. I like that a lot. Introducing different beliefs and different cultural ideas. That's a great idea. Yeah.
But the beautiful thing is that, oh, go ahead. Okay. That when we encounter anything, if we can work on ourselves to eventually, hopefully, eradicate fear, then we can approach something that is unknown with curiosity and ask all the questions of, do you have morals? What are morals? Like, do you have an emotional body? How do you procreate? Like, to actually ask all these questions. What's it like to be you? Instead of this approach that a lot of us have, what can you do for me? What are my gifts? Tell me what you could see, right? And that's a beneficial question at some point, but if we can not be afraid and wonder and hold our own heart coherency and our own energy field, then there's a whole lot of questions that we can allow to rise up from our body to find out what's going on.
Sure.
Exactly. That's what some of my teachers, my mentors told me was you have to stand in your power, which is just exactly what you described. You know, it's like you own your space. You don't get access to my space mentally or physically unless I say it's okay. And that's where the fear comes in, because if you're afraid, there's a fight or a flight. You want to run or you want to fight, one of the two. And you're reacting versus acting, which is totally different. So if you're acting on somebody, you sit back, you think the situation through because you're not afraid, and then you can do something about it. And you can ask those questions like you were talking about. Says, why are you here? What are you doing? And what's your intentions? And all that kind of stuff. Because I was naive enough, I wasn't afraid, but I was naive enough to go into situations and I'd confront some of these things. And if you're all by yourself and you've never done it before, and all of a sudden you're in a situation, you leave yourself wide open. If you're totally lacking in fear, but you're unprepared, I should say, to claim your power and be in that situation, then it can get pretty dicey with certain beats, or it could be the most beautiful experience you've ever had in life, depending on what you run into. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good stuff. I was just going to say, I was reminded when you were talking about standing in someone else's belief system, it reminds me of animal community. We expect our animals to think like us. we forget that we have like us. We have to think like them, you know? So it's kind of the same thing. That's good stuff. So from Robert, before we move on to what I've listed here it is. Concerned that as the Ukraine-Russia war expands, we could end up in a nuclear war. I would like to hear your opinion if our galactic friends themselves. Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Who would like to go first?
Should I? That's just what I'm thinking. Well, here's some facts that I've known that they have shown up over, that's probably what, back in the, I'm not sure, or 60s, 70s, or 80s, I'm not sure, but they have shown up in mass over the nuclear power plants. Not nuclear power plants, but nuclear missiles, and shut the sites down. And it wasn't because we were going to go ballistic on anything. It's just to kind of show the military that they do have the potential to be able to deal with the situation. Now, whether they would actually interfere or not, I have a tendency to believe that they really don't want us to blow up the planet. Simply because the energy of that explosion, it kind of radiates through what I would call the dimensions, and it would affect them in some way or another. And I'm thinking that they would be just as much about protecting the planet as they are protecting beings that are living on the planet. I don't think they'd really go that. But then again, World War II, we bombed Nagasaki and Hiroshima. So I know that when Harry Truman was in the White House, they did show up to Harry Truman and they did say, hey, you know what, you need to stop this nuclear missile stuff. And I'm thinking that the hydrogen bomb, and I think they probably did the same thing to Russian leaders about the same time. And it wasn't too long after that where he just said, oh, we're just going to go ahead and we're going to develop this anyway. And they got the hydrogen bomb, and they were about ready to detonate on the Bikini Atoll. And before they went to detonate the hydrogen bomb on the Bikini Atoll in the Pacific, they had the mass sighting over the White House. They had the mass sighting over the Pentagon, and it went all up and down the West Coast, and they would set up the fighters. They had a shoot down ordered to shoot down the UFOs that were up there, and they just played with them. You know, it's like, so I think this was their way of kind of demonstrating that you guys aren't in as much control as you think you are. And perhaps we would step in. I mean, just to give them some idea of thought that stop playing with the toys, because they're not very nice toys that you're playing with. So I would have a tendency to believe that they probably would step in somehow, because it really is a beautiful planet. Why let it just boom?
Yeah.
That's from a human perspective. It's my thoughts.
Ashley, you want to go next?
Sure. I mean, they pretty much align. I feel that they would be more inclined to allow us to kill ourselves, but not necessarily destroy the planet. For everything that was just said, basically, I feel like there would be a rip in the field that would create mass chaos. And I believe that I don't know how long ago, but a while ago, that we had actually I don't know, not like I can't think of the word right now because I haven't talked about this in a long time, but like an energetic sort of fencing system that was around the Earth, that's sort of, an encapsulated grid system. So Earth was in an encapsulated grid system for a long time, and that has been released to see what we can do and how we can shift, while at the same time I think it's important to remember that a lot of us have incarnated, and that by us getting destroyed, we're also harming parts of these other galactic frequencies and galactic families that we're all connected to. But because those are larger consciousnesses, they can absorb that, like some of us, back into their fields. But I feel like if something were to happen to the Earth, it would create some catastrophic problems. And also, if we were all to explode all at once, it would cause some serious soul level trauma for a huge chunk of this universe. And so I'm inclined to say that if we were in a massive nuclear war and it destroyed half the planet, I'm not so sure anything would necessarily be done to it, but I feel like there is something in place to not create a huge, massive rift in the field, because I don't think that we or the consciousness of a lot of us could handle that. And by us, I mean Earth, other planets, Andromeda. If we remember that we're super connected to the Andromedan galaxy, and we're basically a child of Andromeda. If you think of her as the birth of she birthed the Milky Way, that whole system did. So this interconnectedness is massive. So if it affects, quote unquote, them, they would probably step in as much as they're allowed. And I think at some point there's going to be enough of us that are asking for help too. So it's that conscious request while holding our own power, because we can't ask to be saved, but we can ask to receive assistance so that we can do something together.
Yeah, I like that concept, because we are responsible for our destiny here on this planet, and we need to learn how to take responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody wants to fight about that. It seems like they aren't getting hit. But you did mention the grid around the planet, which I have seen. That grid is really cool. It's just starting to light up right now again, like you were saying. The Native Americans spoke about this grid as a great web around the Earth, and they would travel on this when they would go do their shamanistic work as well. So yeah, it's really beautiful, to be honest with you, when it's all lit up. So, and it was this is kind of off topic. I know what we're talking about, but my feeling is that is what's there at the time that the pyramids were at their peak, and it was providing the energy for the pyramids to do whatever work they were doing at the time. So yeah, probably back in Andromeda days, and then they were shifting, something happened, and we're not. Anyway, back to that. Yeah,
Right.
I think that it actually, if you got to the atomic blast that went up on that scale, it would do so much damage even to the spiritual side of the soul, because they are that the spirit that we carry within us is matter, and if it dissolves your physical body when something like that happens, it does have an effect on your spirit self as well. So I'm thinking it would take quite a while for that trauma to actually wear off, because that's got to be very traumatic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've actually had information that I've gone through that at Hiroshima. Haven't even reincarnated yet because it was so traumatic. Law of One actually talks about that and how traumatic that is for the soul. Yeah, it's huge, and so information basically the same thing, that it's not going to be allowed to happen. Atomic bomb that we did detonate it. That's when the Galactic Community and everything perked up and said, "Uh-oh, the kids are playing with fire down there. We need to figure out what to do," and up in mass. And so, according to my even not going to happen. So that's one way they can interfere, is if we come to that point, which I don't see us coming to that point, to be honest with you. When I look at timelines, the timeline we're on 20 years ago, when I was being shown timelines, it was a little bit different. I'm not saying it was nuclear, but it was a lot worse than what we're on now. When I was seeing timelines 20 years ago, or a timeline we were, but for a while now, and I don't believe that. And what my peeps tell me, and what I hear other people in the community, just like you guys, and allow it to happen. I don't think we will allow it to happen. And so hopefully that eases your mind, Robert, from us little galactic contactees here. Others, and let me see, Mike has something to say about it. Mike says he's heard from several different people that they would not allow the nuclear option to be used. Yeah, totally. Oh, hey, Diane. Good to see you here. Okay. That's a very good question. And, it's on people's mind, of pushed in the news. Ashley, you remember Diane, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Diane's here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's see. I wanted to share something that was kind of cool.
Okay.
Personally, some.
I said okay.
What's that?
Yeah, there really is a delay.
It has to do with extraterrestrials, I guess, and other planets. I interviewed on a gal. Her name is Heather Tesh. On her of going to a water. She was taking me to a water planet, and she sent me a message and said that NASA had released an article that there's the new telescope. Is it the Kepler telescope? I guess now has found an ocean planet, a planet covered with ocean, water covered with ocean. So I'm not. That's really cool to hear that. I knew they existed, but that's cool to hear that, and they have discovered one. So what they think is also on that planet.
There might be life out there. I don't know.
That was exciting to me.
Yeah.
Huh?
No, I think it's only us. I think we're the only life.
Yeah. It's the sun's still
No, I meant on the
revolving around
water
the Earth.
planet.
We're the center of the universe. And yeah. Yeah. Now on the water
Yeah,
planet,
I meant our world, the water world.
geez, if you just want to do this on a strictly scientific statistical analysis, from what they've gathered from studies 30 years ago, it's scientifically impossible not just for there to be life and other planets like Earth out there somewhere. There's got to be millions of them. They're just the universe is loaded with
Yeah,
those kind of things. But
trillions.
they actually, yeah, it's way beyond count, to be honest with you. But for them to find something like that's pretty cool. I mean, they know that there's Titan up around Jupiter. It's got water on it, you know. So there are planets in our system that they've even found water on Mercury, you know. So
But
water is really
no,
abundant out in the universe.
it's more than just water on it. It's an ocean covered planet.
Yeah. So there's
Can
just a
you guys hear me
whole
okay?
ocean.
Am I
Yeah.
getting through?
Yeah, we got you.
Am I getting through? Okay.
2 thumbs up.
It's because that's what near death experience. That's where I was taken, is to a water planet, ocean covered planet. And I've been made fun of by lots of people on too much attention because I know what my experiences are. They are aquatic beings, and I became an aquatic being and remembered my family and all that kind of thing. So for science and confirm, and I'm not saying that's the planet, but I'm just saying that there are ocean covered planets out there. Feels really good to me.
You've been validated.
I just want to
Yeah, they've got your number. They know all about you now. Yeah. It's really cool.
For a long time.
It is. Yeah.
So yeah, when you get validation,
Well,
confirmation.
Yeah, there's been times I've got validated on some things, and I find that it's really just kind of. I'll hear back from I have a friend who's in a remote viewer, and he says, "Don, something's happened over here. You described it to me exactly, just like it happened over on the other side of the world just recently." He says,
right.
And it's always cool to hear the validation for anything that you're doing, whether you're just helping somebody out in life, they get back with you and let's say, hey, you know what? Or you're on a water planet and you see it, and I don't know if you showed up as an amphibious being on that planet or not, but you know, it's cool. I had a meditation experience, not a meditation, what do you call it? I'm all tongue-tied here. Where you go in and you sit down on the table and they do the massage, okay? Massage, Reiki combination type of thing. And so she's doing the Reiki on me, and all I can see is this mermaid fish thing standing out there in the corner, kind of guiding her over what she was doing. She says, you need to settle down and relax. You need to relax. I said, I can't. You got a fish in the corner. Yeah. And so you know that there's stuff like this out there. There's various forms of beings out there. And why would they not want a water planet? You know, that'd be perfect.
Yeah. Well, you know, people just like, and these are that have not, and I'm glad that they're listening to these types of shows, that just haven't had an exposure to that type of sharing, you know, or anyone talking about it. I've seen myself as an aquatic being many times in that kind of thing. So, yeah, it's not unusual.
Yeah, in many
I think
ways. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that Michael Sala interviewed Sunbow True Brother. Have you heard him? He's a Sasquatch contactee with Sasquatch. Okay. Well,
Oh,
I've read his book, a couple of books. He's a shamanic person.
I've heard of it. Yeah, I've had some friends who did the Sasquatch thing,
Sunbow.
so yeah, I've heard of them. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So
Yes, I've
according
heard
to
of
what the
them.
Sasquatch told him, the history of our planet is aquatics were first on this planet, which I wrote about in my book of going from here to here, back to here, through many, many, many expressions. And the mantids were after that, and that Russia found a crashed spacecraft that they had in archives that how mantids or insectoids, mantids, and that they were ancient beings, which we know, right? And very telepathic, as we probably know. Anyone who's experienced a man, and then after that was and this confirmed. Talking about confirmation, this the mantids after the aquatics around the same time, I guess, came to the planet, and there was a catastrophe that they were using some type of technology or playing with technology, and there was a catastrophe, and they went underground. I had visions when I was working with a mantid of a. Do we have other planets, or just in different realms? Is everything happening right here? You know, same. Are we just all happening? Everything, and we're not on other planets. It's just
Everything happening all at once. Yeah.
within the grid, but it's not other planets, just different realms. I'd like to hear your thoughts on that.
About everything happening all at once?
No. Are there actually planets, or are there just different realms? Are there actual physical planets out in space? Is there space? Is there really space? Is there actual planets out in space? Or are we just in different realms?
I think
Am I
it's
making
both.
any sense? Both?
Yeah, I feel like it's both, right? And then depending on the vibration that you're holding, maybe the space continuum maybe comes closer together. But as far as I feel like each planet holds a different vibrational field. And so I feel like there are beings that can move through time and beings that can move through space. And so depending on the frequency that you have and the way in which you move, and whether or not you can access and or experience another planet is completely based on your own I'm going to say sacred dimensional makeup. So depending on your own soul's experience and what you have access to and what kind of sort of body type you're holding in that moment, if you even have a body. So I feel like it's both.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that too. I don't think there really is a spot in time. The only reason we have time on this planet is because we're rotating around the sun and we measure it off the light in the dark. And we're farther away from the center of the galaxy. I think if you move closer to the center of the galaxy, everything becomes a little bit more convoluted because you're not traveling through space anymore, if you understand what I mean. It's like we're sitting at the arms of one of the long arms of the Milky Way. The Earth is out here all by itself. We're traveling at, I don't know, millions of miles an hour, so like some unreal speed flying through space. And the Milky Way galaxy is flying through space, and so we're traveling through space. But I think if we stopped and everything stopped, we just stood still in this place, everything kind of comes together. And so it's just a matter of where do you want to be and where do you want to go. If you're in the center of the galaxy, maybe there is no time, or time slows down substantially to where you don't have to worry about it. And it could be possible there's no dark and there's no light. I mean, there's no dark, it's just light all the time.
Right.
Because you may be living on some place where
I've thought about that too, or vice.
You don't measure. Yeah. You don't measure time. Yeah. So it's strictly, it's kind of a human concept, although I think it's all the way out there. And like Ashley was saying, I think you jump through it. I really do. I think you have times where if you're like a remote viewer or some of the stuff that I do with consciousness sharing, you jump out of your body and you go traveling and you go through space and time. And you can pretty much go wherever you want to go. So if you wanted to, and how is it all connected? How is it all put together? Because you can go back to 1900 and visit or 1850s or something like that, visit a covered wagon era, and be there consciously present, and come back to this time and space. It all gets very convoluted and kind of difficult. But I don't know if I'm putting myself together very well on that thought. But it's I know what I'm thinking, trying to get it out of the mouth, and just like tough.
Everybody, Don just gave you a transmission. I hope you got it.
Yeah.
Or maybe you don't want it. I don't know. Yeah.
So Leah asked me, how did you feel when you heard about the water planet? Did you get the heart tap? Yeah, I guess you heart tap where I definitely felt it, because that planet is my heart. It's in my heart. Aw. Diane says, ocean planet. There are trillions of planets that can be explained. Totally agree. Okay. What do you guys think of Stephen Greer's disclosure project? Well, before we look at that, I want to put up Astral Marm says he agrees, both, depending on your relative dimension, space and time, realms and planet. Bye, Leah. Leah has to leave. Okay. Hope we'll see you again sometime.
I haven't been following
personally.
You should talk about it. I was just going to say, I haven't been following Stephen Greer's disclosure project for a really long time, so I don't know. I think he does a good job with the CE5 thing. I think the sort of foundational protocol works for a lot of people, but that wasn't the question, but that's immediately where my mind went. So I will hand over Stephen Greer's disclosure project to you two.
Well, I'm kind of in that same category. I haven't really followed Stephen Greer. I do know what he does with the CE5, and I know he claims to have some very high level contacts that he deals with, but the information that he gets from high level contacts, I don't know what kind of information he's getting and what those high level contacts have in mind and the direction they would like him to go. You know, if he goes up these high level contacts, they're deep state, and he's talking to them and saying, hey, give me some information. What can I go off of? They'll feed him information which they feel is appropriate for the time. And maybe he's trying to break people into the whole UFO field by going on these CE5 tours and these experiences, but I don't know what kind of information he's actually getting from the higher ups, and how do we know that it's legitimate info on that regard? I don't know. He's going to government sources, and so the government sources are going to tell you what they want you to hear. They're not going to just do what I just tried to do and just spray the whole thing out for them.
Well, I've been following Stephen Greer for a little while. I don't know, maybe 10 years or so. As he was the first one to bring out whistleblowers, what, 15, 20 years ago, maybe? I think he's done a really good credit for the world of disclosure. I think he has done a lot of work with it. Feel that he is his work. I've seen both of his, or I think he's on 3 documentaries. I've seen them, and I really like them. Yeah. Okay. He he just recently had disclosure conference. I think there was 16 whistleblowers, I believe. I only watched a little bit of it. I didn't watch the whole thing because it was like or longer, and so I didn't have a lot of time to watch it. But I category of adding, because he did that. David Grush came out, and some other whistleblowers talked to Congress and told their story. I thought, okay, we've got people talking to Congress. Stephen Greer is coming out with, I believe he, Spidey sense tells me that he does have credible witnesses. That's me, okay, because they claim whistleblowers. That's what I feel. And he's been attacked like crazy. People that are being attacked, I tend to believe because the powers that be don't want this emperor going to attack those people. So my intuition tells me that he is really working very hard, that we are be community, and so I respect him for that. Phil was good this last conference, disclosure conference, because there was others coming out at the same time. So, people are listening. Um, and everything like this, you're going to get.
I have a tendency to think.
I was just going to say, I think with everything like this, you're going to get people that have a true story, and there might be some that don't. You know what I mean? That are infiltrators that the government will put in there. But Stephen Greer's been doing this long enough. I believe that he does vet, from what I've seen and heard, does a pretty thorough job of vetting them. So that's just my take on it.
Well, he does have a decent message he's putting out, so I got to give him props for that. It's that. But when you're dealing with the high ups, I kind of question that. But the work he's actually doing, like you're saying, I don't have a problem with. I mean, CE5 is a decent organization, does a good job of getting people out there to, check out the situation, find out what's out there. And the information that he is putting up, the congresses he's put up, that's got to be good. I mean, there's nothing absolutely wrong with that at all. So he's taken what he's got and he's really put it out there and done a decent job with that. So I'll give him props on that. Yeah.
Yeah, and the CE5, I've done quite a few and it's good stuff. So, yeah, it's his questions, and if you have the app, is really helpful, and he's got a lot of stuff on there on the app if you want to, use it for your C5, and you don't have to do it in a group. You can do it yourself. It's got tones that you can play and things like that, and he gets some cool experiences at his groups. So we've had some cool experiences when I've done them.
That's what I've heard. Yeah, that's
So
kind of.
yeah, he was just on Michael Sandler's Inspire Nation a couple hours ago. Looks interesting. Might check it out. I've heard of Inspire Nation, that channel. And is anybody here? Okay, so I was going to show a video because there has been different countries Congress about UAPs, UFOs, extraterrestrials, whatever, this information coming out that the galactics are would be that the countries have to come together, that it would be kind of all at the same time. That makes sense to me, right? Here of Jamie Masson, who has been a researcher for, he's a reporter too, but many decades, lifetimes probably in Mexico. And I've seen a lot of his stuff, and I believe it's legit. He wouldn't be doing this as long as he is, I think, if he wasn't. At least 40 years he's been doing this. So that information. So this is interesting. I'm going to play this. Okay, I'll just set it up a little bit. Presented and showed. He displayed 1,000-year-old alien corpses that are fossil. And I believe these were found a few years ago. But the good news is he's presenting them to the Mexican Congress. Okay. Share this now. It's just about 40 seconds. And there's English subtitles. All right, can you see it?
Yep.
No, because I can't see you guys. Okay. Play this. And I'd like to know your opinion on it. Okay.
¿Qué tal? Muy buenas tardes a todos. Secuenciación y su posterior corrimiento en un gel de agarosa con tanto de ADN degradado como moléculas pequeñas de ADN no degradadas, con la posibilidad de poder realizar un proceso
elongated head
identificado como triple, que es básicamente una muestra de tejido muscular de la muestra cadera. Se lograron obtener
Wait, that was it?
Yeah.
No, that's okay. But I
Okay.
don't know, I was expecting it to be a whole thing.
No, it was just 40 seconds. So what do you think? What do you feel?
It is interesting. It makes sense that they were found in Cusco because Cusco is a huge Stargate high vibrational frequency that a lot of Star Nation been using and coming through for a really long time. So it would make sense that there are some remains. I was trying to listen because I heard something that he was saying in Spanish about distraction or something else. So I'm going to go back and watch it later and listen and also read the subtitles. But I think it's fascinating. It will be interesting to see more of that showing up.
I think a number of years ago he came out with, maybe 15 or 20 years ago, he came out with some other ones that were pulled out of South America someplace. I'm not. That were similar to that. There were skeletons that he found down there. They were in a cave or some area down
I
there.
remember
So
those.
he's brought forth a lot of these. It's kind of like the little people in a cave they discovered up in Wyoming. Once upon a time, they found these little skeletons, maybe about 1.5 feet tall, wearing a kind of Native American.
Yeah.
Where I don't know what happens to these things; they just kind of disappeared. But it's so there were little people running around as well as giants, for that matter, too. They were all over the place.
But again, they had a body too.
Yeah.
But they also had like a body and a physical structure, so it will be interesting. It'll just be interesting. I mean, because it's a frequency that existed in a time with the little people or the giants, right? Where the Earth was holding a particular frequency where different types of embodied beings could interact with the planet, right? Without sort of combusting or something. So it's pretty fascinating. It's sad that over time it would be nice if there was a museum that would have all of these findings, like one in a central area or a location, or somebody that would track them and put them all together, because collectively that's a lot of evidence that we could connect to or look at versus having it just disappear in our minds.
Well, maybe that's what we're
I was worried about that. Yeah.
leading to that now with all this consumption, rather than hidden in the Vatican archives or hidden down in dungeons of certain Smithsonian and things like that. So hey, who knows? I understand that there's a lot of pyramids too that have been suppressed, and maybe that'll come out too.
Well, I know back in the 1800s, in a lot of the mounds and the farms as they were expanding west, they were digging up all kinds of graves that were of 8-foot tall beings that were buried in those graves, and they just came up missing. The Grand Canyon is supposed to have something of the same thing down there too. So I would be interested to see if he's going to do any type of X-ray technology or that kind to break down the bone structure on these beings that were fossilized, to see if he can get a better take on what they actually looked on. Maybe do some imaging of some sort.
I believe that he's had them or been working with them for quite a while, so I believe they've already work, because I remember seeing these before that he couldn't bring to Congress. Right? So yeah, I'd like to dive deeper in how they found out that they were beings rather than, because I've seen comments, paper, blah, 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 this and that. Now, why would he patient of 40 years or so of being a investigator and researcher in this phenomenon do something like that to the Mexican Congress? It just doesn't make any sense.
Yep.
Question here. People are afraid. James Gilliland. I had a trip planned there next week. They canceled on me.
Oh, did they close early?
They closed up already?
James wanted to close early. He was well, I had reservations for the whole weekend. Next weekend, the gal that runs the place and said, James wants to close early. So
well, I've been up there twice.
I guess I was the only one.
I took my meetup group up there a couple times. We used to go up there once a year for a couple of years in like July. We'd go up there, and it was interesting. I mean, you could see definitely. I was able to talk to him for a few minutes. You know, not really for an awful long time, but I did have a conversation with him. He showed me where his burns were, where he actually was, you know, claimed he was hitting the chest. And if you go up there, there's a lot of stuff. I had some wild dreams. They were just really, really crazy because he has got his property set up on each corner where you have like 4 grids that he's got these big crystals set in each one of these corners of his property. And so there is an energy there that is really cool. And I had a friend who witnessed Bigfoot while we were up there. There's plenty of UFOs to see. I mean, you go up there and you will see them if you stay up for a while. I mean, you do have to sit out there and watch for them. And there's usually a couple of around 9 o'clock or something, you can see something flying across the sky. You shine the green lasers at it, and then what happens, it'll blink back and flash back at you. So there's definitely something going on up there. But you just have to go for yourself and see. It's really cool. I mean, this property is really neat. So, yeah.
Yeah, Mike, have you been there?
I love it.
You been there?
Oh, me too. I love it too. I've been there with Ashley myself.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Go ahead, Ashley.
Yeah.
Oh, I've probably been there like, I don't know, 30 or 40 nights or something.
Oh, you're the expert on it then, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't really
Camped out.
know. I don't really know James that well, so I'm just gonna leave my comments about him over there because it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of energy there, and it's really fun. I think it's fun to do. I think it's Friday and Saturday night. He does these gatherings in the groups where he calls all these beings in, and you can definitely connect with a lot of different frequencies. There's like Lemurian energies, the Syrian cats are there. I mean, the Andromeda, they're all, everything is there. Anybody that you want to connect to that's galactic vibration is available. I love the energy. And it's just
yeah.
really
Then
nice.
you can look off in the distance, so you can see Mount Adams, I think is what it is, and sometimes you'll see UFOs popping in and out of Mount Adams, which is really cool.
Yeah, it's fun. Even like the elven beings, there's a lot of Fae energy. I mean, it's all there, and you have an opportunity to open to a lot of different experiences that you would like to have. Connect with your galactic families. Definitely spend the night. You don't have to go there for an event. You can, now they're closed, so you have to wait until I think they open around April again. But the energies are pretty intense in a good way. So I would also say that to expect that there will be an amount of integration for you. Maybe, things will come up and then you get to look at it and work with it. Because anytime, in my opinion, we ever work with high frequency energies, whether we're channeling or bringing information through us or working in some altered state of consciousness or having these sort of contact experiences or connecting with different energies, it brings up stuff in us, and then we get to look at it and work with it and be transformed.
Yeah, and at the very least, you go up there, you're going to meet a lot of like-minded people and just have a good time. Yeah, it really is a lot of fun.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun. I've probably been there 5 times, and yeah, it's only an hour and 45 minutes from here, right? So it's not that hard to go up there. It's nice, and remember, so make sure you ground when you're leaving.
Yeah.
Make sure you know your way out, because you're leaving. You are leaving and it's very easy to get lost. Right, Ashley? Yeah, it's happened to us too. It's easy to what? Where am I?
Where's my car?
Where's my car?
Yeah.
Where's my ship? Okay.
Yeah.
Where did I park my ship? So yeah. So Mike's been. I'd like to know what you think about it, Mike. Says, um, she spent an evening there and believes she saw a UFO. Well, you probably did over the
Mm-hmm.
place.
Mm-hmm.
Diane. Yeah, 9, 10 o'clock at night they come out, I guess, or else you just see them as much in the daytime. Are there places like that on the East Coast?
You know,
If anyone knows that's here,
I've been
maybe
to
you could.
Virginia, and I went to the Monroe Institute,
Mm.
and that was pretty much a spiritual place. It's
Yeah,
kind of that way, except you're going out there to study a specific subject to take classes. But they have a great big yard out there, and it is just, if you have the ability to get out there for a week, that would be great. That's really nice. They do a very good job out there. It's nice area to be in.
yeah, I've been there 3
Other than
times
that,
myself. I over here
yeah,
that has been to the Monroe Institute. I'm so happy to. Well, not lately.
it's nice to meet you. I've been
Anyway,
to
I
the
think I haven't been
Monroe
in a couple
Institute.
of
Yeah,
years. But I know,
yeah.
right? You don't tell people that. Yeah, or you have it on your
Well,
card. Monroe
my whole purpose for going,
it.
my whole institute for going back there was to do some astral projecting because I couldn't figure out what I was doing. What I do with when I do my traveling, I I could never understand quite what it was. I knew what it did wasn't doing, but I couldn't figure out what I was doing. And so by going out there and going through their astral projection classes, got a really good understanding about the processes that I do. So, and the answer is it's neither. It's got its own little niche there.
So you took William Buhlman's class, his course, correct?
Yeah,
William
I don't
Buhlman?
know if he's
Yeah,
there anymore.
so did
Yeah,
I.
he had cancer when I was there,
He's not.
and yeah, he had to give it up
Oh,
because
his
his throat
online
was going
courses.
on him. So I think I took his last class. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's really good.
Yeah. Yeah, I took Gateway Voyage and the other one after that. And it was yeah, to
What
highly
what I
recommend
found
it.
out was I bought his set of CDs, the Monroe training program CDs, and I started to go through them, and I realized the guys, I call them the guys, had already taught me the stuff that was in his CD package. And I was like, oh, I'm already doing this. Oh, I'm already doing that. I'm already, it's like, okay, they set me on a path to do something. And it's like they took the wrong Monroe book and said, here, we're going to train you this way. So that's pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so
So I just spent all that money on CDs. I didn't need.
yeah, I listen to them all the time. Can you hear me okay? I haven't noticed that there's issues. Is this on? Is this working? Is it on? Is
Yes.
this on? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of.
Is this on? Is this on? I'm not so sure. Okay. All right.
Mm.
So Mike, you said you did a work while you were there. Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Um, yeah, you when you're there, you definitely do some inner work. It's just because they're working with you while you're there. Carol says it's kind of choppy. That is kind of for me. Sorry. Uh, uh, Robert, as format, have you thought of having this meeting on Zoom or something similar so that those of us in the audience can participate more directly? All. I haven't. I've thought of having it. I mean, I actually took over, so I do have that local group, the support group. And I've thought about doing it online every once in a while. So, there's an idea. Just, Sure, I can do that. We can do that. It's an idea. Thanks, Robert. Anything else anyone wants to share? I showed the video. Okay, I'm looking at my notes here. Uh, uh, so I was getting information recently today because I said, "Hey, is there any messages that you can bring through?" Um, for the peeps, something about healing the gut. So, uh, and I read an article that
Stop eating our
our
food.
guts
Yeah.
stop eating our food, and our I think it's called. Let me see. Look it up here.
Mediterranean diet. Yeah.
Yeah, the mitochondria, the good guys are killed off, right? So there's a strain that's good, that's really good, very strong and really good, called L. reuteri, lactobacillus bacillus reuteri, that apparently is my feed after I was getting this, that it's L. reuteri good for and people apparently in the article that have started using this bacteria have a clearer, their breathing problems go away. Let me see here, what else? Lots of good things. Find it. Because with the antibiotics that we're kind of prone to taking on a regular basis too, we like you said, Dawn, don't actually normally help get us the good stuff to 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 bring.
Yeah, exactly. If you're a nutritionist and you walk into one of our grocery stores, what you do is you walk around the outside of the store and you pick all your stuff out, and then you forget about everything in the middle because it's all
Yeah,
junk and it's all going to kill your good bacteria, and you know, it's just not good for you.
yeah,
So,
yeah. I was trying to find what people said, that what it's done with them, how it's helped them. Um, uh, yeah, apparently it's really good stuff. So I was getting that information to share because what goes on inside of us goes outside of us. Does that make sense?
yeah.
So we have that gut brain that needs to be taken care of. uh, they were showing me to see and vision good cells, are good microbes, are good little workers working for in our body. Envision them, direct them to work in our body, to help our body, because we don't talk to our body. So to have that conversation with our body, because I see the cells in my body and help them move around and clean up my body. Okay. Let's see. There's a couple comments here. What This is from Carly. Sharon, what local group did you just mention? It's Don's group that he started it. It's as and you know, anybody who has unusual paranormal type of experiences support group, and we meet in Beaverton, and yeah, it's I can put it if you're local.
Is that still the same name that I had on it? It was a name change somewhere along the line. I think I had
Changed
it as
it.
Oregon UFO Encounters. Yeah. Yeah, it changed a couple times, I think. So, yeah.
Yeah, Sandra and Gary changed it, and I changed it after that. And I was going to do online. I to West Coast or something, or just
Mm-hmm.
to to widen it. But
Yeah, it's on the Meetup platform, though, correct?
it's on Meetup. Yeah,
Yeah.
I put the. Where are you? Are you on YouTube, Carly? Or just send me if you're on YouTube. You can just send me a message. I'll send you the link. SharonSananda.com. I mean, yeah, site. Okay, if you're interested. Somebody's asking, are we going to Vegas? Disclose Vegas in November this year.
Sounds like it'd be fun, but I
Uh-huh.
haven't heard of it till right now either. So, probably not.
All right, Robert suggested I turn my video off. Can you hear me better?
I think so.
That's coming in really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, video was not good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's a good reminder that the equinox is next week. So it's we're gonna have equal light, equal dark, at least in our hemisphere. So I feel like there's been a lot of energy that's been coming up the past few weeks, kind of going into this. And I know that I am been hanging on to every last bit of the solar energies that are available. I've been very much enjoying the sun in the summer, so I'm not necessarily looking forward to the fall. And I've been starting to smell it in the air, and there's a part of me that's like, no. It feels to me like the last quarter of the year might be pretty interesting. So a lot of what's been coming up for me has been, and if you look at this equinox as a time to harvest, has been a lot about looking at relationships, and particularly how I've been relating to myself and re-relating to my body, re-relating to humans and human relationships, and sort of expanding a lot of that. So I would invite you all to kind of take stock of what you've been looking at, facing, celebrating, how you've been shifting through the first part of the year, and see where your resilience has been, and see what you can kind of harvest as we go into this last bit of the year. And I imagine things might feel quite heightened next week, but to have an open heart and kind of let the frequencies come in, and maybe set an intention about how you would like to work with the energies of the last part of the year. And I know that we're on a weird calendar system and there is no time and all of that, but I like to look at equinoxes and solstices as these energetic gateways that open, and where things come into alignment. For myself personally, I find that equinoxes are a really good time to integrate, take the stuff, maybe shadowy stuff that you've been working on, and integrate it, because the light's available and it's quite balanced. Things are balanced, so you can take advantage of that and start weaving things in to get prepared for moving in, if you're in the northern hemisphere, into these darker energies, not necessarily bad, right? But just into having more dark time. what does that look like? Maybe for you, it's more cave time. A lot of times people really like to create when there isn't a lot of sun. It's sometimes slowing down. It's kind of feels a little bit like something to prepare for. So it's my reminder.
Yeah, thanks. Pacific Northwest winter is always, yeah. You like that sun so much that you appreciate it a little bit more, and then all of a sudden it's gone. You're like, oh no, 4 o'clock, dark again. You know, so it's good to have that energy concept come to the forefront. So thank you.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate the sun here in the Northwest. Well, I lived in the South for 25 years, longer. We took the sun for granted. Yeah, thanks. You know, we used to celebrate in indigenous culture, still do, but we used to celebrate the solstices all the time, and the moon, and the full moon, the new moon, all that kind of thing. The cycles of the planet. So it's something that there's a reason for it. Because we go through cycles too. When the planet goes through her
Absolutely.
cycles, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. I don't have anything else. Anybody have anything else?
Nope.
We good?
Well, just remember who you are. You are beings of power, and you need to stand in that power. And just practice some energy rituals every day. If nothing else, just clearing yourself out, clearing your area out. Take a little sage if you need to, or your crystals, or Palo Santo, or Florida water, and just remember to treat yourself right every day.
Yeah. And I just want to mention, I guess, for those that are here, and if anybody watches this later, October 18th is the first day of my Divine Immersion program. 9 weeks. It's called Sovereignty and the Sacred Art of Channeling. There will be an opportunity to do an 8-week plant devotional in that. We'll be working with your higher selves, your beings, whatever you're comfortable with, plants, crystals, and we'll be channeling and doing a lot of transmissions and activations to connect you with your divine masculine, divine feminine, and then alchemizing the two. And then there will be an opportunity at the end where I will co-host you all, anybody that's in the group, to actually channel in a online for people that come and attend. And this is my, I think, 5th year doing this course, and it's one of my favorite ones. So if you just go to my website, it's on the front page. And then if anybody is in town in Portland tomorrow, I'm going to be at the We Metaphysical Fair and doing an event from 8 p.m. for you Night Owls, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m., doing a 2-hour workshop called Turning Plants. It's like plant consciousness, turning light into life. And so we'll be working with plants and connecting actually in person. And then there will be a lot of other practitioners there, so you can get sessions. And there's a whole weekend. I'll also be having a booth for Friday and Saturday. But I encourage you all, if you're in town, to check it out, whether you're going there for me or for other people, because it's fun.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. All right, peeps. Hey, Carissa. Good to see you. Mwah. Love you. Love you guys. I'm going to turn my camera on. So I am behind the wheel of my ship and fly. Thanks, guys. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next time.